All right, what is going on, Coin Observatory? I got a pretty interesting stream today, right? I was checking in on altcoin market cap, and that's a chart I have not spoken about in a while, and it's looking very promising. We've got somewhat of a reversal pattern, kind of like what we saw on ETH right before I said we should go 20% into ETH. Hello, Georgia. If audio's bad or video's bad, please let me know, or else I'm just going to keep going. Well, the altcoin market cap chart is looking very interesting. It's showing support above the previous resistance level, right? And it's forming a head and shoulders, and there's even a falling wedge that still hasn't broken up. All right, so if you were to zoom in and just kind of back out just a bit. So we've got this inverse head and shoulders formation. We also have a pending inverse head and shoulders on BTC. There's a couple of alts that have an inverse head and shoulders as well. And this is going to give us somewhat of a 30-35% upside target. And what's more interesting is it's doing what Ether has done. It's finding support above this previous order block, right? And what that's going to do, once this retests above the neckline, it's going to the upside, and it's going to break this wedge. Once you break this wedge and retest this wedge, looking at a likelihood of a nice rally. The inverse head and shoulders target, which is our... My dog is squeaking her toy. Stella, stop that. Sorry. So there's a 33% target to the upside. And that's going to be the initial target, right? But once this breaks out of the wedge got another 47% target going from the swing high to the swing low, right? So once we see the initial breakout with the initial target of a 34% move up, we should then see another rally of 47% from the wedge, wherever the wedge breaks. So 47% rally. So, you know, there's going to be two of our next bullish targets for the altcoin market cap. It's going to put it at 862. And the next one's going to be 105, right? So we should ideally get back to pre-last dump, and then if this continues to the upside, it's going to be, it's looking like a bullish Q1, which is interesting. Usually Q1s have been in the red, right? Last Q1 was somewhat terrible. We had one rally to 17,000, which was the bull trap, and then the market came back down. But this is looking promising. We might get a retest of the right shoulder. But as of now, things are looking pretty good for crypto. Anyone have questions on the altcoin market cap chart? All right, moving on next, I'm going to go into BTC. Or XBT USD. Go ahead and chart this on TradingView so you guys get a little bit of a better view, because I'm using my ultra wide. All right, so Bitcoin's also showing a pending inverse head and shoulders. The difference is the one on the altcoin cap is complete, right? We just want to see the price trading above the neckline. XBT or BTC's got a very similar formation, right? going to be our left shoulder, our head. I covered this last time, and then our right shoulder is still forming. Interestingly, we did see a bounce off the 61.8. It was a bullish one. It looked good. Of course, we're going to see some kind of downwards price action before we go up to shake out the leveraged longs and leveraged shorts. You guys margin trade, you know what I'm talking about. And what's really interesting is the bounce came right above the 61.8, right? So it wasn't the full 61.8 retracement. And we're currently holding around the 38.2. We had several bounces off the 50. We want to see this get back up. And if BTC can get up into that 4191, 4200 range, it's going to be looking bullish. We're going to see a rally up with, you can post the head and shoulders target. I think it's going to put us right at 5K or 5200. So we're looking for a 25% move in BTC, which should put price right at 5,300, 5,200, 5,300. I wrote a Medium article on this maybe last week, so if you guys can go to our Medium page, you want to read it. I got more information on that setup. Lightoid, inverse head and shoulders is confirmed when we break the neckline or settle above the neckline. We're still far away from it. Neckline is looking like it's at 41.86, the top of it, going off that last resistance. J6, play the break on XBT or play the break on ALTS. We've had a lot of alt signals come up yesterday, past few days, right? I posted them, and a lot of them have been pretty good. My last XBT long signal came over here, right? Right after retesting this falling wedge, and it's still in the profits, right? As I was writing this, the rally, I saw this turn, and then the rally started, and I signaled it as the move was developing. But we should see continuation. We should definitely see continuation. The previous stop is still valid. But the safest play is trading the actual confirmation, which is the settling of the price above the neckline. We want to see an open above the neckline for the upwards continuation, for the upwards rally. Ether has been in the lead in terms of USD gains. Let's go to ETH USD on Bittrex. And what's really interesting on ETH is it's definitely showing continuation. ETH BTC, right? So if you guys remember, I posted and I tagged everyone. I said, make sure you switch your portfolio to 20% ETH. And the reason I said that is, one, because ETH is rallying pretty hard, and two, ETH is outperforming all the altcoins, right? So it doesn't make sense to hold alts that are losing value on ETH. So the best way to deal with that is, liquid portions of portfolios should be in ETH. I'm not an investment advisor. It's just my personal opinion. And yeah, so ETH BTC has been rallying fairly hard. Altcoins are struggling to keep up with it. Now back to the ETH USD chart, we did see Ether break up above that previous resistance zone, right? I'm going to highlight that on my chart. I'll answer legacy market questions in a second, right? So this is going to be our previous resistance area. We did see somewhat of an attempted double bottom there. Price broke above it, came down, retested it. And we can even move this line a little further down, and definitely saw some type of bullish continuation, and price is still moving up on ETH USD. And this is what's interesting. Whenever it came back to the altcoin market cap chart, right, we see price action. This is a daily chart, so I'm going to go to like a 240, which is a 4-hour. And on the 4-hour, we're seeing a bit of a similar setup, right, where we want to see price gap back up and trade above this last resistance. I'm going to make that more visible. I'm going with yellow. So we want to see price get back up and trade above. It's currently still getting rejected, but the volume's been really interesting, especially down here at the swing low, or coming out of the swing low. It's looking like the Ether chart did before Ether broke back up. Your thoughts on legacy markets dumping, pro or con going forward for crypto? All right, so my thoughts on legacy markets dumping. We did see somewhat of an inverse correlation set in, and that inverse correlation set in. Again, kind of move this chart around a bit. No, let's do this. I spoke about the inverse correlation not too long ago, my last stream. Right when Bitcoin broke out to the upside December 18th, we saw traditional assets, legacy markets take a big swing low, take that next dump. I do believe legacy markets are not done selling off, right? I posted net short again. And this is the SPY. This has been one of the easiest index to track. We haven't seen a double bottom. I'm still shorting, aggressively shorting, and yeah, we have an inverse correlation. So XBT can be the hedge, Bitcoin can be the hedge. It's no longer following legacy markets. As a matter of fact, when the QQQ, SPY, and a lot of indices bounced up today, BTC took a leg down. So we're still seeing somewhat of an inverse correlation. It's not as strong. I think it'll get stronger. It'll get amplified. Gold, I believe, is still moving up, right? I spoke about this last time. So when gold moves up, we know that people are hedging. And BTC being somewhat comparable to a digital gold, we can expect, right? We can definitely expect BTC to be a hedge at some point. Plunge protection team. Yeah, they did. All right, fam. I've covered the altcoin market cap, right, which was probably the most interesting announcement for today. I covered Bitcoin and Ether. Let's take some altcoin requests. What kind of alts do you want me to cover? Talk to me and I will TAM to the best of my abilities. Waiting for your requests. All right, well, if you guys don't want to ask me, I'm just going to cover some alts that I've signaled. I'll go over a rep for you, J6. So I signaled Link yesterday, right? I said there's a pretty significant bull flag breakout. I'm not quite sure we're at the target, but it is definitely making gains. And we're looking for 17% since signal, right? That was a good one. But it's still not at T1. We're still not at T1. I'm looking for Link to essentially break out of these previous high levels, which is a stretch. But with the altcoin market cap looking the way it is, if it closes above that neckline, we should see some pretty long sustainable rallies. Awesome. Here comes the altcoin requests on YouTube. Thank you. All right, so I'm covering Link. AMB was looking pretty interesting. Another update on a signal that I posted last night. Was last time I checked it, and it was doing a bullish pennant. Whoa. All right, so we're still seeing someone at that pennant trying to break up. It's coming back down. It's retracing. We signaled this one early on. All right, moving into rep. All right, seeing a retracement on rep, going to 240. It's settling above the previous range, which is still bullish. Anytime we see a range breakout, we want to see the retest or the throwback. Definitely want to see it uphold these levels. I don't want to see rep pull back any further. There's that BTC sell-off today that sold off altcoins as well. So we did see these down candles on several alts. So it's kind of market unison. And I wouldn't give much into it. I'd give the market a chance to turn back around and correct itself. What's going on, David? So back here, rep had a head and shoulders that broke down. I'm not seeing a similar formation at these levels. So this is going to be the second attempt to get past this resistance. We're definitely not seeing that. We're not seeing an inverse head and shoulders either, but it's definitely looking like a strong play still. Put some moving averages and go to the daily chart. So moving average strategy tells me that rep is ready for a rally, right? We did see this somewhat of an ascending triangle, right? Broke the double top, which is really important. We're seeing somewhat of a spindle, but we're also seeing these accumulation wicks to the top. We saw these on salt when I wrote about salt, and the next day it made 66% on Bittrex. So OCN had hit several of my targets. Went up to 99. It's currently moving back down. So the difference, right? So OCN's moving averages haven't really broken up to the upside like they did on rep, right? They're not like quite free and clear for a big move up. But we'll put some fibs on here. We'll see what's going on. As of now, OCN is retesting previous resistance, and if previous resistance can turn into support, that would be ideal. This was a cup and handle formation that broke up to the upside. I actually signaled this one fairly low, and it went up to 101, which is one of our targets, and now it's starting to retrace. It's back at the 50 period moving average on a 4-hour. We should see this act as support. Let me add an RSI, see if there was any bearish divergence that we might have missed at some point. There's definitely some bear div on the 4-hour. So it's probably correcting that bear div. Let me see what we're doing in terms of fib levels of the big move. So we want to see what happens to the 50% retracement of the bigger move, right? If it breaks through that, I would auto stop out. I would stop myself out. All right, fam, ask me for some alts. If I covered your altcoin, please smash that like button. Georgia, you want me to cover ADA for you? I know you're a big ADA fan. ADA's looking rather interesting, or it was last time I checked on it. So again, moving averages on ADA are looking free and clear to the upside. Right, previously the MAs didn't quite break above our long term. This time around they are doing so. They're both above, so I'd expect some kind of continuation. I definitely would. We did see a pullback and it was bought back right away. I had a signal on ADA on margin with a profit take 50%, and the signal was like down in the 900 range. Currently settling above that previous resistance, right? It came down, retested, looks like it's getting bought back up. ADX level's fairly high, 38, but it has not it hasn't started curving back down. It hasn't. All right, going over XRP. Right away here, we see, you know, a little bit of a larger trend on Ripple, right? This one, I believe, you trace past the 61. Looks like a 76% retracement. Just gonna go to the candle tops, right on the money, 76% retracement. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna fib the swing high to swing low and see how we're doing in terms of climbing back up through the downtrend. Moving averages on the daily, they're free and clear. They are still to the upside, though I am getting, they haven't quite closed yet, but we could be getting somewhat of a sell signal if the two shorter term moving averages cross to the downside. Expected support is going to be right at that 7,400 mark for XRP. Let me check oscillators. We're seeing quite a bit of bearish divergence. We got a no, not quite. So we got 1, 2 divergent highs. This is called a failure swing, right? When a failure swing is, go ahead and zoom in a little more. What a failure swing is, it is when price, or when the RSI or oscillator gets rejected on a higher high before the extremes. What failure swings do, they're essentially the first, the earliest sign of an incoming reversal. They can happen at the top, they can happen at the bottom. So with the divergent highs and failure swing, I'd expect XRP to break back down at least to this support level, right? To the 87.36, maybe 7,400. I don't see a sharp move up, not on the daily. Going into the hourly chart, yeah, it seems to be doing this like rounding. It's kind of typically bearish. Alright, if you like my analysis and don't agree with me, or if you do agree with me on your token, smash that like button. I'm just telling you what I see. My perspective. So IOP, right? We're seeing these accumulation. We're seeing this buy volume come in. We're seeing moving averages starting to get up and into the upside. I almost signaled this one again over Christmas, right? Like the Christmas week when I was in Dallas, I was looking over this one because of what volume is doing. We've seen this one make 1,000% just on an accumulation rally that we saw last year, and I traded this 1,000% moon. I'm not saying, you know, IOP is a great token or it deserves to make 1,000%, but this is crypto and tokens do move violently. I'm not shilling IOP by any means, but we're seeing some interest over here, right? And typically when we see high volume interest, especially on OBV, it means that a move is developing. All right, fam. Give me some more alts. Oh, Lumens. So one thing we know is Lumens and Ripple, they like to move somewhat side by side. They do have a direct correlation. Lumens is not looking the strongest, even though fundamentally it should be one of the strongest tokens. We're seeing a bit of like a rounding of the trend. Moving averages are to the downside. ADX is crushed and accelerating. Right, if this thing goes up to 24, 25 ADX, coming to the downside, we're gonna see a big leg down from Lumens. That being said, historically, it's looking like it's at support. Now, previously, we've signaled some zones like these on XLM. Not quite sure we're gonna see that. Is there a falling wedge or something that I'm missing here? Let's go to 720. Nothing's breaking to the upside, not on lumens. I don't know if I like this wedge. Don't like it. Alright fam, hit me with some more altcoins. If not, I'm gonna go ahead and just cover legacy markets a bit, because I do have a substantial short position on every index, right? And so I'm gonna go ahead and use my bear setup. If you look at the daily, we're seeing the 1,000-day moving average, which is a 500-day moving average, act as resistance. And I've spoken about these levels. This is on the QQQ, right? I've spoken about these levels. The 1,000-day moving average was support, right? And I said we should definitely start shorting again when price gets back up. Well, maybe not the QQQ, but the SPY. I found support at the 1,000-day moving average, which is right here. This could be a big bear flag, right? If this is a big bear flag, stock market's in trouble. It's gonna be in deep shit, actually. Excuse my French, but I think it's worth it. And if BTC and the crypto bear market taught us anything, I'll cover Loom in just a second. If our bear market taught us anything, it is when you see a pullback coming, you short early, you short everything. And it was kind of our consensus. And some of the guys that followed me with these plays, just like the guys that, you know, we didn't really get into options trading, but we just essentially long 3x bear ETFs. And we started signaling these when this flag pattern was developing. We made some crypto-sized gains in shorting the stock market. You know, some up to 68% on SPXS, SRTY. The Russell took a massive hit, and it's looking like a big bull flag, right? And it's gonna break back up, probably hit, you know, $65. It's looking really exciting. I'm pretty fired up about the stock market. It's, you know, I haven't put out a lot of XBT signals. I've been holding these longs for some time, and it's opportunity. It's there. It's less volatile. Well, it's volatile in one way. Going over Loom, I'll come back to traditional assets, legacy markets. All right, Loom. Once again, trying to settle above the previous resistance. So when we see these moves develop, it's an attempt to break out of the range. We did see a clear break out of the range. We also did see price close above, and now it's currently retesting one more time. The breakout volume was good, right? The breakout volume was good. We want to see it sustain. So on the daily, I believe Loom was looking good in terms of MAs. Not quite yet, so it might be early, but what's interesting is ADX is moving up sharply. Currently at a 21. If this thing gets to 24 with trend still setting up to the upside, we could see a big move out of Loom, right? Last time it did that, let's see, last time it hit 21 on the ADX, it was still developing, a slight pullback, and it shot up. So these are things that I like to time very well. Moving average breaks in ADX to 24. Derek from Canada. So back to indices, stock market. I want to look at the QQQ once again, because if that's a bear flag, we're gonna look for an even bigger move down. All right, so if this was our bear flag and we were to do a fib extension, swing low to swing high, next target is gonna scream trouble, right? The 1.618 fib is going to put it at 129, and it is currently at 151, right? If it does double bottom and start moving back up, it's a different story. Now, where does this 1.618 fib relate to a fib retracement of the last swing low, the last big move before the bull run? Let's go ahead and do that. And we're going to be looking at a 50% 61.8 retracement. It's really interesting. All right, so we're going to be looking at it right at a 61.8 retracement. I believe the SPY had a 50% retracement. I'm looking for a 61.8 retracement at this point. Bounced right off that 1,000-day moving average. Christmas Day, I was traveling, looking at my phone, whether place an order or not before getting on the plane. It was stressful, right? So we had a 50% retracement. We want to see 61.8. And if this is a bear flag on the SPY, it's going to be more troublesome than a 61.8. So for you guys that are shorting the stock market with me, we got some bigger moves developing. I did say I was looking at calls on the SDAO at $20, and I got some calls on $21. I got ambitious there. Currently at 20, so that's still in the profit. So we're seeing the SDAO. You know, this is a 400-day moving average, trying to find support above it. These are looking like bull flags. Our 3x inverse ETFs are looking like bull flags. So it's gonna be really interesting from here. Anyway, so back to the altcoin market cap. I'm just going to do a recap, so I'm not getting a whole lot of altcoin requests. We are seeing an inverse head and shoulders. I want to see a continuation. I want to see a rally take place. And alts are moving up. Ethereum closed above, and it's trading above that double bottom. So it had a really strong buy signal. Bitcoin has not closed its inverse head and shoulders yet, right? But, you know, if legacy markets take a hit, Bitcoin's a really volatile asset. We could see some long money step in and move the price up. Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning into the chat. I'll give you about another minute, see if anybody wants to give us some altcoin requests. I'd hate to hop off just 30 minutes into it, but I'm not getting much engagement from you guys. All right, going once, going twice. Here in about an hour, I'm meeting with our devs to get the altcoin signal bot going. We're gonna test it today. So I've been meeting with them at 2:30 my time. It's currently 1:35, and I should have an update for you guys. Maybe a screen share. Possibly a login, right? Possibly get you guys access to the altcoin bot. So anytime we signal something and have an auto trading bot that's gonna do that. And I'll do a video for the VIPs once that's up and going. What other announcements do we have?